Hi everyone, my name is Marissa and I'm going to be here today to talk to us about silencing our phones and taking a moment to be mindful. If you're like me and you're working from home, or if you're just following the ongoing pandemic news, you're likely glued to your phone waiting for important emails and updates mixed in with all the panicked images of, people grocery shopping and email updates from all my listservs, including the last place I bought litter for my cat, about how they're handling the COVID-19 outbreak. It's very easy to get sucked into the anxiety that these kinds of posts and news and emails create, and that social atmosphere of panic. One way that you can kind of combat some of this anxiety is occasionally just taking a step back. So what we're going to do is we're going to silence our phones. I know this might seem anxiety provoking, but I promise your notifications will still be there. Um, and you'll be much more capable of responding after taking a short break. Next thing I'd like you to do is find a comfortable position to either sit or lay down in, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. I'm going to go over 3 different types of mindfulness for you. I'm going to take you through each one, but after we are done, and if there's one that you liked more, that's something you can incorporate. If you don't like any of them, that's okay too. But I'm going to go over 3 different types. If you're comfortable, feel free to gently close your eyes. And I invite you now to just start paying attention to your breathing. Notice if your breath is more in your chest or if you notice it more in your stomach. Notice if you are breathing quickly or taking slow, deep breaths. Notice if your breathing is more shallow or deep. No need to change anything about your breathing. We're just kind of checking in, noticing how it feels. So let's take a couple of moments to just kind of notice our breathing. If it feels comfortable, take a nice, slow, deep breath in, really filling your belly with air. And notice how your belly expands as you inhale. And then when you do exhale, let it out on a sigh, making some noise. So I will do one of these deep breaths to demonstrate. So now that I'm full of air, and if you'd like, you could take another deep breath and let that air out on another big sigh. These are nice cues to our body telling us to kind of relax and that this is a time to release some tension. One of the next skills that I'd like to introduce is just starting to notice your thoughts. Try not to make judgments about what you're thinking. That's something that we often do. What we're trying to do right now is just being a passive observer. You might find your mind wandering or get hooked on a thought. That's totally okay and perfectly normal. If you notice that happening, try to just kind of unhook yourself and go back into that observer role. There's a couple of different ways that people like to imagine this. The way that I like best is imagining each of my thought as a car on like a highway and sitting on the side of the road and just kind of watching the cars go by. Some people really like imagining themselves sitting by a stream and kind of placing each thought as they come up on a leaf and watching those go down the stream. So I'd say whatever makes the most sense for you, or maybe you can come up with your own fun metaphor for how you want to watch your thoughts go by. While we're checking in with ourselves and our thoughts, try to notice what's on your mind. Do your thoughts focus more on planning in the future? Do your thoughts focus more on things that have already happened in the past? Or are your thoughts more currently in the moment, reacting to your environment? And if you are, that's awesome, because that's very difficult to do sometimes. Try not to judge still, and it's very natural to judge our thoughts. It takes a lot of practice to kind of get out of that habit. You definitely will still catch yourself doing it. I catch myself judging my thoughts all the time. When you do, just try to bring yourself back to that observer role. So I'll give you a couple of silent moments to continue checking in with your thoughts, just noticing them, noticing the content, and really trying to just observe what's going on in our minds. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is check in with our bodies. So we've checked in with our breathing, we've checked in with our thoughts, and this is kind of like a mini body scan. So if you're comfortable, I want you to kind of slowly scan yourself, from head to toe. Are you noticing any tension anywhere? I know I hold all my tension in my neck and shoulders, so that's what I notice. What happens when you purposefully relax those muscles? Sometimes the tension that we're holding is something that we aren't even aware of, and once we're aware, we can intentionally let go of the tension in those areas. Another good thing to check in with is some of our more basic needs. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Does any of your muscles need to be stretched out? Do you need to use the bathroom? When we're working from home or focused on something else, or even just feeling a lot of anxiety, sometimes we forget to check in with some of those basic needs. And then find ourselves feeling kind of crummy, and we're like, well, I wonder why I feel this way. But if we check in with our basic needs, sometimes we notice that we haven't had any water all day. We should probably drink some water. So take note of these needs, and that's something that you can attend to when we're done with this mindfulness practice. So I'll give you another couple of moments to kind of finish checking in with your body, noticing any pain, any discomfort. Okay. And now I invite you to kind of come back to your breath as we end our mindfulness practice for the day. Notice your breathing again. Notice if you're breathing quickly, if you're breathing slow, if your breaths are deep or shallow. We're really just noticing. The breath is something that you can always kind of come back to if you're trying to be mindful, something that's always happening, and it's always happening in the present moment. A lot of people refer to this as a kind of an anchor for their mindfulness practice. So if you forget everything else, you can always check back in with your breath, and that's something that you can do. If you've had your eyes closed, feel free to open them, and I want you to kind of notice how you're feeling, what it felt like to really take a moment and be present. Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel anxious to turn your phone back on and get back to it? Whatever you're noticing is totally fine. On that note, you may now unsilence your phone. You can return to your day. If you found this helpful, I encourage you to take a moment like this throughout the day, just to kind of give you a break from your phone. Sometimes we don't notice the effect that being in constant contact is having on us until we take that moment to separate. And if there's any part of this mindfulness that you liked more, if you were more into checking in with your breath, more into checking in with your thoughts, or if you liked the checking in with your body, feel free to use any combination of these practices and take as much time as you feel comfortable. We did kind of a brief, probably a little bit more of a rapid overview of these three, just to kind of introduce you to them, but you can do them however you'd like. All right, well, thank you for taking this moment to be mindful with me. Again, my name is Marissa, and everyone stay safe and healthy.